Evening, everybody. And before I take up this evening's shloka that came to me for discussion, I would like to share with you one event that happened with me yesterday. And as many of you know, that I work as a doctor in the medical college. And so yesterday it happened that as I was on a routine round, because my job is to look after the ICU and facilitate the treatment. Whatever the senior doctors, they come and we have to be present on the rounds. As you know that there are daily rounds happening in all the hospitals. And so there was this senior doctor, and he just came to know that one of his patients was shifted from the ICU, because I had to take that decision previous day, because he was well, he was comfortable, and he was doing well for all those days. And so whenever we have to create a vacancy for a sick patient, then we have to shift the patient who is already stable to the ward. And so I did just the same. But this senior doctor was very furious that how could you do that without my permission? Although he did not say that to me directly, but he was saying you did not inform anyone, and you were like, he was absolutely furious, and everybody was there in the hospital, and everybody was looking like what is happening. And the moment I said that, but sir, he was quite stable, and then he became more furious, and he started, blasting me, and he was really upset about the whole thing. And but at that moment, there was incidentally, what happened just a day before yesterday, I was told to give a webinar on the subject of how to transcend the ego. And this subject was somehow I found that it was somehow very difficult, and so I was looking for some of the articles written by Swami Kriyananda ji and also Swami Jyotish ji in Clarity magazine, and there were many things I found so as to have a hold on the subject. And I found that Swamiji wrote a very beautiful article on this subject in the book which we have, Sadhu Beware, and also in a couple of other books, where he has given 16 guidelines to transcend the ego. And I will not go into all of them because I don't remember all now. And some of them, like if somebody is praising you, so you can, thank him. But then in your heart, you should give the credit to God, because, he is the doer. And many things like that. But one thing in those 16 things were that if you are being scolded for none of your fault, and if you know that it is not something life-threatening, then don't defend yourself. And it was, when I read it, it was somehow I could not understand. I mean, if you have not committed a mistake and somebody is scolding you for the same, and so you should not defend yourself. But if Swami is saying it must be true, somehow I could not understand. But I never realized that I read the theory yesterday, and I said, Divine Mother, yesterday you taught me theory, and today you are giving me a practical exam, and that too in a question which I could not understand, which was very difficult for me to understand. But I said, and it was happening in those couple of minutes as he was shouting, and I was just listening, and I have already tested the waters by saying that, sir, he was stable, but he was not ready to listen. And but then I said, okay, what can I do? And Swami said, if somebody insults you, be grateful to him. Thank you, so that you can enjoy your unimportance, because that is how you will be able to dislodge those seeds of ego from you. And so anyway, this storm, which was very short, it just came and went. But what happened thereafter, because everybody was looking at me. There were many junior doctors, nurses, many of them were staring, and some people were like smiling or whatever they were doing, and I was not, I just took a casual glance, but then I just went inside within my own self, and I was thinking like, what was, as whatever has happened, but then there were like two voices doing a battle in me. And this one voice was saying that, yes, it's all right that, but why you could have defended yourself. It was not your fault. You were within your own right. You could have told him that the patients are stable and you have to take sometimes call. But the other voice was also because the Swami was saying that, can't you see that this is something which you need to go through, and you need to be grateful for? Can't you see that this is all a dream? How does it matter if on one particular day you have to go through a kind of particular experience? And I said, yes, this is also true. And both these voices were happening simultaneously, and they were like, and I felt that, in that moment for about a few hours at least, although I am supposed to give many instructions there, and people were asking me, I was giving instructions, whatever other doctors and nurses were asking me. But I could feel that I was not the same as I was when I came on the duty. But I then asked myself, what has changed? In just a couple of minutes back, I was absolutely normal. If bliss is my true nature, why is that I'm not able to feel that bliss? What has happened? As we sang just in this evening also, that joy is our true nature. But then, and I was trying my best to get over the thing, but then all these voices and this battle was happening. But then by the afternoon, I was fairly, as I was saying, that okay, anything whatever happens, ultimately I just don't care. I just love God, and this is the feeling which came from me. And I said, I just don't bother how people treat you. When I have given my body and mind to God, and when I'm praying to Him that use me as a channel, how does it matter if how people treat you? And then in the evening, when I had to collect my thoughts for this evening satsang, that what is the topic for the evening I have to, and I was going through the pages. But this question was there, why this injustice sometimes happens, and why, we have to go through all these kinds of different challenging situations. And so my eyes fell on this shloka on the 7th chapter, where Krishna is saying, know that all manifestations of sattva, rajas and tamas emanate from me. And I said, this is very interesting. I was asking, why does it happen? And here, God is trying to probably answer my question, that this is how it happens. Because just, I think few weeks back, we had a talk on the gunas, like there are 3 gunas in the nature, and all these 3 gunas, the elevating and the activating quality, and also the downgoing quality of tamas, how they interplay in the nature. And here, Lord is saying that all these qualities emanate from me. So I felt that probably it is a duty of a devotee to have to see what is God trying to show us, or maybe trying to tell us through such experiences. Because at times it is very easy to see God in a saint, because a saint is all forgiving and saint is all loving. The moment you come in his company, you feel elevated and you feel joy. And so it is so easy to see God in him. But God is trying to say that I am also in the evildoers. And I am equally the same, in fact, because as I read this whole the paragraph, Yogananda always used to give this analogy, that if in a movie, this whole cosmic show is like a movie. There are heroes like saints, and there are evildoers, those who are doing all kind of mischiefs. But then when you see a movie, it is very gripping and you get so engrossed, and sometimes you feel for the hero, that why he has to go through so many hardships, why the person as he is putting so many hurdles in his way. But then Yogananda is saying that if you can just lift your gaze and see, especially in theaters when there is a projecting light from the projecting booth, that can't you see that all these characters are made up of the same light, and it is all a play of light and shadow? And I said, yes, this is true. This is one thing which I have to keep in mind, that irrespective, because there was one person, I think, who was quite unpopular in today's circumstances in the news also, and I was also feeling bad for this person who was doing all kind of wrong things. But then that is, as Mahatma Gandhi at one stage also he in fact used to say, if you see sometimes outside the prisons, they have written that paap se ghrina karo, papi se nahi, and we should hate the we may hate the the sin, but let us not hate the sinner. And this was one aspect to view the whole situation. And then I said, all right, and in this further stanza, Master is saying, Swami is saying that yes, the tension that he creates in delaying the action will bring the story to a more satisfying denouement. That he knows that he's writing all the scripts of all the characters, but then he knows that what you are going through, but at the same time he is trying to delay so that ending is always going to be in the bliss. And it is always, because no saint, as Swami said, has ever said that finding God is actually a scam, and it should not happen like this. Why should we should be going through all these difficulties? In fact, all of them said that yes, it is worth it, and it is worth it to go through all, and in the end it becomes so sweet when God comes to us. And then it happened, and it all was all right by the night. And in the morning when I woke up, and I slept very comfortably, and they were, in fact, my meditation were quite deeper as compared to the normal days. I chanted more deeply yesterday night, and I could pray more deeply. And I said, if just one insult can bring me so closer to God, I'm ready for maybe getting insulted daily. This is because it is bringing me so close to God, and I can feel the joy. So I said yes. But then in the morning, again when I woke up, so there was this battle going on between me. But I was right. He could have treated me, in a more better way. Obviously, I was not at fault. And you see, the battle again came up. But then I went again to the duty, and today I had to face the same individual. And although we had a formal greeting exchange, but I realized that this morning it was not with the same enthusiasm as it is on normal days. And then I questioned myself that why is it so? If yesterday I learned it, and today I'm not able to practice it, so why can't I see God in this man? Obviously he's also a product of the same light. This is what my master has taught me yesterday. And this thought came, and this little bit of turmoil. And then I was trying to see that, okay, the more I'm thinking about it, the more it is pulling me down. So let me not think about it. I will not even talk about it. I will not even, just put my mind to it. I will not give any attention to it. And if I'm not giving any attention, I was a little calmer. But sooner or later again, something was, that whenever the thought was coming, probably because my feeling got hurt, as the feelings are much deeper, Swami said, they can pull you down. And so, but then I have to prepare for the satsang, and I was saying like, okay, what can I share this evening? And as I was reading beyond this shloka, my eyes fell on another line which Swami is writing here. How is it, as I was thinking, like, why is it that these things happen? So let me just read in Swami's words. He writes that every time the tendency arises to refer back to oneself such thoughts as, I did it, or why was that done or said to me? These were exactly the things which I was going through. Why did he say that to me? I'm too important to be treated that way. Although I was not thinking of myself as very important, but I was thinking like, yes, why could he do like this? He should mentally cast that thought into the fire of devotion, which he should keep ever burning in his heart. Consume in your mental fire everything in your nature that will not lift you toward God. And this was the answer which I was looking for. Because although I was trying my best to not give attention to that thought, I was doing a battle, between this battle was going on here and there, and I was getting tossed from here and there. And this battle, as Yogananda himself said, is the real Kurukshetra, because you will have to fight this battle daily. And but then the question, what I was not doing was that this fire of devotion was not ever burning in my heart. And I have to cast that thing, whatever that little thing, because whatever is complaining in us, whatever is, complaining, a part of me was complaining, how could I be treated like that? That part which is complaining and which is complaining of being a victim is actually the ego, you can say. Or that part in me is, to that extent, I'm attached to my small self. And unless I'm going to burn that in the fire of devotion, that is the only thing which is holding me back. Otherwise, I am in bliss. I was in bliss earlier also, and I am in bliss now also. So what happened? Because there was this tendency, which probably I was carrying from previous incarnations, and probably I did treat somebody in that manner. And so one way to look at it is that now I'm free, because the baggage is off my back now. And then, but the thing is that, yes, if I have to be in that bliss always, as we sang the next chant this evening, that just like a fire burns the whole forest, burn to the root my desires. So I have no desire. I have a desire only to be in joy. I have a desire only to be with God. And if this is the small little thing, why should I be attached to it? I just cast it in the fire of devotion. And in the next line, it is very interesting. Swami writes, most people take a long time to confront and change their shortcomings because of two things, he says: the lack of incentive or the will to do so. And this is very interesting, because many of us have will to change themselves, because we are on the path, certainly not to waste the time, but we want to change. But many times there is no incentive to change. And so how the incentive comes? Because Mother Divine, first of all, prepares us, okay, this is the theory, this is how you have to conduct yourself. And then when she sees, okay, now let us do some practical examination, that is the incentive. So when the incentive comes, I think it is our duty and it is our good fortune if we can grab that incentive with both hands. Yes, Mother, let me just do my best. Even if I fail, doesn't matter. It's not important that we will succeed all the time, because sometimes delusion can be very, very strong. And I will go to that shloka where Krishna himself is saying that it is too strong. But then whenever the incentive comes, let us grab it, because it is easy to say that, yes, Guruji, you have given me a good house. You have given me so many gifts. You have given me a good family. But do we have courage to say that, thank you, Guruji, because you gave me such experiences in my life? If those incentives were not there, probably I could not have applied my will to come over it. I could not even have seen that these are the seeds of ego which are yet to be burned in me. And so this is one thought, which was one perspective. And another perspective, sometimes I see is that, just imagine that this world has been programmed in a way that there are hardships, there are difficulties, there are, injustices happening all the time, as we sometimes perceive from our own vision. But even after these things happening, Krishna is saying that just 1 in 1,000 wants to know me. Because just imagine, if those things were not happening, how many of us would have tried to find him? This room has a capacity of about 100 people, and I always see just about 20-30 same faces. And just imagine, if such incentives are not coming, would ever anyone, including me, ever have turned to God? Because in one of the shlokas, Krishna is saying that 4 kinds of devotees come to me. First, he said, people remember me because of sufferings, when they have to go through challenges. And then he says, second are the people, category of people, those who ask, those who want gifts from me. And, there of course be gifts of possession, power, this thing, that thing. And I was also like that. I used to pray, God, if you can please give me good marks in my school days. But I used to add one small little thing: if I deserve, if you really feel that I have done enough work hard, then please give me good marks. So my prayers were like that. But then, and I saw that yes, and I was growing up. So yes, difficult challenges also. And the fourth category, he says, of devotees is one, those who come to me for seeking understanding, because they want to know God. They want to see, they want to know why is this happening, what is the reason, why. And this is like what we call as curiosity, jigyasa ki wajah se. But then I was reading some of the quotes of Yogananda, and I just came upon a very interesting quote. And Yogananda there was writing, don't even try to know God. And I said, what is that? He has always encouraged us to know God, and today he's saying, don't even try to know God. What is that? And then I read the next line. He said, just love him. Because when you love him, he will automatically reveal himself to you. You don't even have to ask him to, whatever desire you have to know him will automatically get fulfilled. And so Krishna is saying the fourth devotee is the one who loves me unconditionally, irrespective of what is happening. Just like Jnanamata was saying, Guruji, don't change my circumstances, just change me. And I was interestingly, there was another quote which I read from Jnanamata's book, and it was like, she said it is all right to have feelings of bliss in meditation. If you have feelings of, if you see light in meditation, this is absolutely, you are really blessed. But one of the best ways to practice yoga techniques is to see in your daily life that are you able to sail through smoothly when the storms come? Are you able to protect yourself? Because I was thinking that if, let us say, there is a fire in a building or some natural calamity, what will happen in that moment? Everybody will run for his life. Nobody would like to even pick up his mobile phone, because under usual circumstances, people try to grab their at least a mobile. Why? Because survival is the most important asset at that stage. You just, only one thing is there in your mind. I just want to save myself, because life is the only important thing there. But what should be the asset in such situations when world is treating us like that? I found that even more than life, even if somebody takes your body, how does it make any difference? Somebody takes, because it has to go anyway, any day, any given day. But then the most important asset, I think, in this situation is that do not, as Yogananda always used to remind us, do not allow anyone to get your goat. And so the thing which I felt was that do not allow anybody to touch your heart's feelings, because they are the most important asset, even more important than life. Because the moment your heart feelings get disturbed, your joy is gone, and you are joy. That is the real you. So I think our job at hand is always to protect our heart's feelings at any cost. There is nothing worth it. And if you need to burn everything, just for the sake of protecting your heart's feelings, it's worth it. And I would just like to end with this last, quote, where, Krishna is saying himself that he's saying, it is indeed difficult to waken from my cosmic hypnosis. Because this thought was there yesterday in me when I was talking to Swamiji. Swamiji, you have written that don't defend, but it is difficult. And Krishna is also saying the same, that it is difficult. Instinct as it is with the three gunas of Maya. But then he's also giving a solution for that. Only they who take shelter in me can find freedom from the wonderful power of illusion. So there is no escape. There is only one solution. There could be multiple problems, but solution is one. And if we just love him deeply enough, then I think we would be like that sadhu whose story I just wanted to share. That this sadhu, was living in his ashram, and he was a very pious soul. And one day he just went into the village where he was going, and he was wearing very minimal clothing. And then he was as he was passing through the village, all the village children, they were just after him, because it was looking like a very strange figure to them, and they were just laughing at him, and they were passing jokes and this thing. And sadhu was just walking, and he was enjoying himself. And suddenly, one child just threw a stone at him, and and when once threw, the others also start throwing stone at him, and then just a fraction of a second everybody was throwing stone at him, and whatever was available. And then many stones, it hurt him, but sadhu kept walking irrespective of what was happening. And on some places he even started bleeding, but then he never bothered. He just continued. And when he reached his ashram again after this whole thing, and then his devotees asked him, "Sir, who has done this to you? You are bleeding." And then his disciples were coming, and they were nursing his wounds, and somebody was bringing him a glass of water and everything. And this sadhu was actually in bliss, and he was in joy. He was laughing, and he was saying, "Doesn't matter, and I'll tell you, don't worry, please sit." And he was with everybody, and and they were asking him, like, who did it? So please tell us, we will not leave him. And he said, "Don't worry, today I think God was in a playful mood with me, and he was God in those children and I was playing with them, and I see God in you who are nursing my wounds. And so it is all the same. How does it make any difference?" And I can say honestly with you that although I have not reached that stage of that sadhu, that I can stay in that bliss irrespective of, because I could not show that courage and that tranquility of my heart's feelings. But that is the highest goal for all of us, that irrespective of how this world treats you, or whether we get a gift from God or we lose a gift from God, are we able to see that it is just the same? It is just God alone who is playing this game of light and shadow, hide and seek with us, and remain unshaken in all those different changing experiences of life. And I think sooner or later, I think we will achieve that, because that is the destiny for all of us. But then we need to enjoy the journey, and the guideline and the thing, which we have to keep on our heart, which I think is the homework for all of us. That if we keep His name in our heart and always keep on chanting to Him, that it does not matter how you treat me, but I'll keep loving you, then I think you will get through anything in your life. Thank you. Jai Guru.